Hi everyone, Heather Shover with My Health Torch. This video is a follow-up video to talk about some of these specific chronic health conditions that Dr. Jeffrey Thompson is treating out of Carlsbad, California at the Center for Neuroacoustic Research. The first video I did about this went into great detail on what is this healing modality, how is he using sound and frequency to activate and awaken the inner healer and the inner intelligence of the body to focus on healing what's wrong in the body and actively monitoring real-time the person's nervous system in response to the frequencies that he's delivering through these really advanced sound tables. So watch the first video for an understanding of the technology. This video is to describe some of the chronic health conditions that he's working with, and I want to make it very clear that these words in this video are my words. These are not his words. I have not met him in person yet. I've listened to his talks on various platforms. I've read a lot of his research, and I start training under him in California next month. These words are my words in this video of what I've heard him say and my understanding and interpretation of it. So he has said that he has a large practice, a large children's practice, where he helps kids with ADHD and anxiety and epilepsy and concussions. He's had great success with neurological disorders. He works with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He works with the various pain syndromes. He's had great success with chronic insomnia. He has a CD track with sound frequencies that take people to a certain brain wave, it entrains their brain to a certain brain wave to help insomnia. And he says he has about an 85 to 90% success rate with that. And also I'll go into some additional detail on what his thoughts are behind anxiety attacks and panic attacks, what's really happening in the body, and how his technology can help with this. I'll go into more detail on autoimmune conditions and inflammatory conditions. And for those who know me, I love talking about autoimmune conditions. And I'll also talk in more detail about his thoughts on fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and what's really happening in the body and how his technology can bring out the inner healer of the body to help treat these conditions. First, start by talking about anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and my understanding of Dr. Jeff's words when he talks about what's really happening behind these attacks. He has said that when he sees people like this in his clinic, and he looks at their nervous system real time on his computer monitor, their sympathetic nervous system has collapsed. That's their fight or flight response. That's their stress handling response, and it's collapsed. So essentially the body feels like its survivability is impaired. So metaphorically speaking, the body feels like it's sitting in a corner, shaking, shivering, with no defenses, no sword, no armor. That's what the body feels. But that's happening under the radar. So consciously, you might be out to dinner with friends and suddenly you enter this mode and you don't know why. He has said that the body occasionally does just a self-diagnostic. How am I doing? What's my survivability quotient? All under the radar. And when it's doing this and it comes back with red flags, you break out in a sweat and a panic and a fear, and you don't know why. I went through this several years ago when I was in a period of chronic stress. I know how terrifying it is. And so many people go to the doctor and say, this is what's happening. And he says, well, you're just under too much stress. Here's a happy pill. And that's fine as a temporary fix, but the root cause of it is the sympathetic nervous system has collapsed. You need to hit the reset button. And Dr. Jeff's biotuning software is one way of hitting the reset button and awakening your inner healer to be able to then address what's happening in the nervous system. I'll now give a summary in my own words of what Dr. Jeff is saying about autoimmune diseases and inflammatory conditions. And he's saying it's not as much about what you're allergic to, it's about the immune system inappropriately targeting healthy proteins and seeing them as foreign invaders. It's a problem with the immune system, but the immune system is very tied into the nervous system. So for someone who's running a chronic stress response, who is in fight or flight mode 24/7 because it's a stressful lifestyle, then by design, that person's energy is extracted from the immune system, from the digestive system, from reproductive systems, all of these non-essential systems during a true crisis. But when they're running this 24/7, then all of the time, the energy is extracted from these systems. So if the genetic weak link for a person happens to be in their immune system, then that's where they see it first. And so it shows up with allergies in the mucous membranes, or skin allergies, skin conditions, or autoimmune diseases. So it's really a sign that there's a problem with the immune system, and the immune system has gone so long without having enough energy to perform what it needs to perform because there's a chronic stress response. The fix, Dr. Jeff says, is to hit the reset button, to take this person out of chronic fight or flight, to look on the computer screen. With his technology, he can do it by looking on the computer screen, delivering a sound frequency to them, finding the exact sound frequency that takes them out of fight or flight into rest and repair, where all of those energies that have been mobilized in the muscles are now flowing back appropriately into the immune system, the digestive system, and can begin healing those systems. So that's Dr. Jeff's explanation, in my words and my understanding, of what's really happening in autoimmune diseases and in inflammatory conditions. And it's the same thing with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. The top gland in the body that's involved in the stress response is the adrenal gland. And so if there are years and even decades where that adrenal gland is overproducing because of a chronic stress response, that adrenal gland gets weakened and it starts producing less adrenaline. And when there's less adrenaline, you start to feel really fatigued. So that can then be diagnosed as chronic fatigue syndrome. Also, when the adrenal glands get weakened from overuse, they produce less corticosteroid hormone. That's a naturally occurring hormone that circulates throughout the body and suppresses unnecessary inflammation that's just a result from normal movement, joint and muscle movement. You don't want to feel pain from normal movement. But when that hormone gets low and it's not circulating through the body, there's an inflammatory response as a result just from normal joint and muscle movement, and that can become very painful. This is why steroid medications can often help fibromyalgia. They artificially reintroduce that hormone that mimics corticosteroid and can reduce that level of inflammation just with normal movements, but there's side effects. It destroys tissues. There's many, many side effects to steroids, so it's not a long-term use. According to Dr. Jeff, the fix is to get out of chronic stress and into a heal and repair mode, have all of your energies flood back into the appropriate systems, and heal the body that way. One way of doing that, I believe, is through his biotuning, sound healing, and brainwave entrainment software. And I'm so excited to train under him next month in California. I really feel passionate about this. I think it's a real game changer for people suffering from any kind of chronic disease. So I'll be bringing this technology back to Texas, helping me, my family, my friends, the Health Torch community, and really making an impact on chronic disease because we're not meant to live like this. Heather Shover with My Health Torch. Thank you.